Here we're looking at when there is an interaction in a between subjects factorial ANOVA. So the following assumptions should be met when we're doing a between subjects factorial ANOVA. The first assumption is looking at the scale of measure on the dependent variable. The second assumption is looking at whether our sample is being randomly sampled from a population. And the third assumption is asking the question, is there independence amongst my participants? So in other words, do participants appear in one and only one cell, and the cells or groups are not related to each other? So those first three assumptions are rather more methodological and really should be cleared up before going ahead with the data gathering process. Assumption 4 and 5, they can be tested with a statistical package. In this case, we're using SPSS. So the fourth assumption is looking at the assumption of normality. So this is when each group of scores are normally distributed, or approximately normally distributed. And the ANOVA is quite robust to moderate violations on that normality assumption. And the fifth assumption is looking at homogeneity of variance. Homogeneity of variance occurs when there's a variance in the cell population, when the variance in the cell populations are equal. That's homogeneity of variance. Or the sample variances need to be approximately equal to satisfy this assumption. Here we're looking at a between subjects factorial ANOVA with an interaction. So just to quickly explain what variables are, we've got the ID variable here that just lets us know which person is which by the variable ID. Activity, well, that's the low activity we game or the high activity we game. Drinks, and that's the number of drinks the person has drunk. And the injury severity, that's our dependent variable. That's the rating of how severe the injury was as a result of playing the Wii game. And then there's a cell. So if you think about it, there's two IVs, or two factors, activity by drinks, and that's a 2 by 3 factorial ANOVA. In total, there's 6 cells. So each cell, so cells of 1 mean that they're all exposed to the same conditions. Cell of 3, those who have 3 are all exposed to the same condition. Cell of 5, all exposed to the same condition. In other words, an activity value of 1 and a drink level of 3, and so forth. So let's have a look at these variables in more detail. Have a look at the variable view. So let's have a look at activity, level of activity. We can see if I click, so at the activity level is, sorry, just confusing everything there. Let's just go here to activity, and the label here for activity, we can see it's a level of activity. And it has 2 levels, low activity Wii game or a high activity Wii game. And if we have a look at drinks, well, that's the number of drinks that were drunk while playing. You've got 0 drinks, which was coded as 1, 2 drinks, or 4 drinks. So there were 3 levels there. So because it's a 2 by 3 factorial ANOVA, you should have 6 cells. And each cell is exposed to the same conditions. And then you've got injury severity, which is the injury severity score. So coming back to the data view. Now, first thing we're interested in is evaluating some of the assumptions, things like normality and outliers. So, I've got quite a small data set here for a 3 by 2 factorial ANOVA, or 2 by 3, same thing. And so it's 24 in total, so it's not a lot. It's only 4 people in each cell, so I would expect normality violations. But the way that we would go about analysing normality and outliers is, firstly, let's split the cell by activity, because what I want to do is I want to look at within each cell here whether normality is met. So to do that, I could actually just run it on cells, but I'll just split my file by activity, compare groups by activity, go OK. So what that is essentially saying is that I'm going to, whenever I run any analysis, I'm going to split between low activity Wii games and high activity Wii games. Now I want to, as normal, check my normality and outlier type assumptions. So I go to Analyze, Descriptive Statistics, Explore, and my dependent variable is injury severity score.
Number of drinks was my factors. I'm already splitting by level of activity, so I don't need to put that in there. If I have a look at statistics, I'll just keep my descriptives there. That'll give me measures of central tendency and variance, and of dispersion and skewness and kurtosis. So I'll leave that there. Plots. What I want to do is I'll get a quick view of my box plots. So that just gives me an idea of what my outliers are looking like. If there are any potential outliers, might give me a bit of an idea around normality. I'll unclick stem and leaf. However, it is quite useful to use that. And I will use normality plots. So that should give me normality tests for each cell. So it should give me 6 normality tests. And let's press continue. Options, I'll just leave that like that, the default, and I won't worry about Bootstrap. And press OK.